What's going on, everybody? King Narcomi here, back for another video. Of course, we're talking about Persona 3 Reload right now. It's a hot topic, and we're going to discuss whether or not the older versions of Persona 3, including the original, FES, and Portable, are irrelevant now that Persona 3 Reload is out now. A lot of people have been playing it. It's been a couple of months now, so I think we can finally talk about this safely now that we've all dipped our toes into the game. So I have my good friend David Cass JRPGs here to talk some P3 Reload with us. How you doing today, David?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's been a while since you had me on, so this is gonna be exciting. Reload is a game that I played and I'm keep playing. Played it more than I thought I would, so I thought I would just beat it and move on. But I'm like going for the trophies and everything, stuff that I never do. So it's a game that I have a lot to say about. So I'm really happy to be home, and should be fun.
So like I said, the topic today is Persona 3 Reload, the definitive version. And to answer that, I think we need to go over what exactly does Reload do better than the other titles, and do the other titles do anything better than Reload does? And there's a big elephant in the room with that as well that we'll get to. But let's start off with what Persona 3 Reload does better. Now, it's on a lot of systems. Of course, Persona 3 Portable is on pretty much everything known to man right now because of the shitty remaster that they did last year on it. FES is not on modern platforms, of course, and the original Persona 3 if you want to play those. So what does P3R do better? You can start off with its modernized visuals. I mean, the game looks absolutely great on a 4K screen, 4K 60 FPS on my PS5. That is one thing that P3R has going for it, because if you go back to FES, it doesn't look like the best. I mean, to me, it was never a looker, really, except for like the atmosphere of the game and everything. P3R obviously does it a lot better. Another thing that I really liked about Persona 3 Reload is it did the complete voice acting for all the social links. You got that, right, David? How different were the social links for Reload compared to like FES Portable, because you actually got that voice acting from it? Did you enjoy them a lot more?
I've been very vocal about Persona 3 social links. It's apparent and it's clear that this is where social links started, in my opinion. The social links are not as interesting for the most part, and they're not as deep as the next few entries, like 4, 5, and 5 Royal, and Golden as well. Every other game has better social links, in my opinion. That being said, the fact that now all social links but the Maya social link are fully voiced, and as you said, and that's a really good thing. It helped make some of the boring social links a little more interesting. It didn't fix those social links, they're still the same, and that's my opinion. Obviously, feel free to disagree. You're totally okay. That's totally okay. But the fact that they're fully voiced is it makes them more interesting. It keeps me hooked. And when it comes to, I know this is not what we're discussing here, but when it comes to Persona 6, I'm expecting them to be fully voiced now. I think that's the next logical step in Persona 6. You make all your Persona social links fully voiced.
Right, you didn't even have that in P5 or Royal. Like, this is something new that they did, so I think it was a great choice, honestly. It really brought the characters to life. Now, more things that Persona 3 Reload, this is not like a definitive list. If you have anything to say about what makes Persona 3 Reload better, feel free to say it in the comments if we don't mention it, because obviously we're dumbasses and we cannot list everything off the top of our heads. But in Reload, there's a bunch of quality of life improvements for like the gameplay. This includes like direct control of party members. Of course, you had that in Portable, but you didn't have that in the original Persona 3 and FES. You had better and more varied Tartarus sections, like visually varied and everything. I don't know about you, David, but that was a big plus to me. What did you think of the new Tartarus and Persona 3 Reload?
Again, another thing that I was very vocal about, and I know I'm in the minority, but to me, Tartarus it looks better. It's a little bit more diverse, and I think you're going to mention new additions to make it more fun as well in a sec, so I won't discuss that right now, but it feels refreshing a little bit. It's still the same old tower that you like spend so much time in, and there's not really, again, yes, there's the small stuff, but there's no big gameplay changes to make it way more interesting to me. And I'll even go as far as to say, people who played Soul Hackers 2, I didn't say that on Twitter. I almost did, but I decided not to because I feel people would attack me, so I'm doing it on your channel. I was about to say, Tartarus in Reload is not more fun than the Soul Matrix in Soul Hackers 2, in my opinion. It's the same. It's a dungeon. It's a dungeon crawler. Fights are fun, and it looks okay. Very repetitive. That's it. To me, they're very similar. So they didn't fix Tartarus for me. They made it better. It went from a 6 out of 10 to a 7. Right. That's how I would describe it. Again, in my opinion, but I know I'm in the minority here. So.
Well, they did do a lot for it. Like, you can collect Twilight fragments in there now. Those Monad doors that you keep on going back to in the passageways, which I thought was a cool addition. Those were awesome. You get like these little things that you can break all across Tartarus as well. There's even a new system in the game. I don't know if a lot of people have gotten to this yet, where you can spend your Twilight fragments in Tartarus, and sometimes that will trigger an additional door that you can go through and level up a few of your teammates to get to your level, which I thought, you know, since P3 does have a pretty big cast of characters, that was a big quality of life improvement for me. So like I was saying, there's a lot that they added to Tartarus in Reload, and I think it's for the better, just in the terms of gameplay and visual overhaul as well, because there's different sections of, even though it might be the same thing over and over again, to me it's kind of refreshing to have that new visual, because in like FES and stuff, it didn't really stray away from its original like design. So that was
a good point. And to be clear, just to wrap this point up, for me, when I say it's what they did with Reload was the best thing that they could do with what they had to work with. Because I mean, Tartarus, I said it before, and I was huge in the discussion surrounding a P3 remake before it was announced, and I was always saying it does not need a remake. And the reason for that was because I thought they would not fix the issues that I have with Persona 3 with a remake, and I was right. I mean, Tartarus, there was no way to make it more fun. The concept of Tartarus, it's the main pillar, it's the structure of P3. You need Tartarus, and it needs to be a 300 floor tower, right? There's no other option. That's what the story is all about. So they did a fantastic job with what they had to work with. It's a fantastic remake, but as a game, I still have issue with Persona 3.
Right.
That's my way to describe it.
Some more quality of life improvements include not having to completely reload your save when you die, which could be a bad thing to some people who want a bit of a challenge. But to me, that's great. You know, it's 2024. We don't need to go back and start from the last spot we saved. No fatigue system in this game either. I know that the fatigue system was a big topic point across like the original Persona 3 and FES and everything, and it just got on my nerves so much. And so it was nice, because to me the fatigue system has always been tied, if you want to see like your SP running out, basically that's when it's time to get the hell out of Dodge. So that was nice that they didn't include that either. And one more thing, you mentioned this to me, the social links not breaking when you do something wrong or something. They can't break completely. They can reverse still, but they don't completely break, and you're not missing out on that social link if you like accidentally like make the wrong choice. Like if you like kiss Chihiro during her social link, it reverses it. Now that's not a definitive list, of course, and like I said, post in the comment section if you think Reload does anything else better than the originals. But right now we're going to talk about what Persona 3 through Persona 3 Portable does better than Reload. In my opinion and our opinion, David doesn't even agree with all these, but this is what I feel as well. And I think a bunch of people see it as well. I think
those are common thoughts for sure. Like, you're not the first person to bring up some of these that I don't necessarily agree with, so.
Well, I do enjoy the darker atmosphere that even FES provides and everything. I think, like, the lighting in the dormitories really... I know that's a simple thing to complain about, but the lighting...
No, but you're right. When you see the first intro cutscene of the dorm, you're like, oh, shit, what's going on? And even in Reload, like, cutscene, you're like, oh, shit, what's going to happen and everything? But as soon as you play it, you're like, oh, okay. It's very bright. Yeah. It's shiny. It looks very simple. It's all right. I mean, when we first got the trailer for P3 RE, which was the, if I recall correctly, the Iwatodai dorm trailer, I was blown away. I was like, oh, wow, it looks cool and everything. But as I played the game, yeah, it does not look as dark and as creepy as in the first game. It's important to mention with that point of previous versions being better in a sense of dark atmosphere, I wouldn't count Portable personally, because without the environments and without the 3D visuals, I would still say Reload has a better atmosphere than Portable. FES, you can argue.
Well, it's kind of hard to have an atmosphere where you're playing a visual novel as well. So,
yeah, for sure.
But I think that the original games, being the original P3 and FES, do give the sense of a darker atmosphere, which is what the game was wanting to go with in the first place. And just when you get to that dormitory, it's just like all light and everything. Even when you like go outside and stuff, it doesn't like, to me, it doesn't like, it could be like any other Persona game. Especially with like Color Your Night playing in the background and everything, everything's happy and everything. It's just, I know it's not something that they really wanted to go for in the original, so I think that was kind of lost in the new remake. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm not criticizing it just for some lighting in the dorm that's, you know, that I think is subpar, but it's something to mention. Definitely. And to me also, I think that the opening for Persona 3 and FES, the opening cutscene and even the awakenings for your protagonist are much better done in the original games. And you know, P3P, it's kind of bad no matter what, like for the the awakening of the protagonist and everything. But I think that the first games, especially P3 and FES, do a lot better in their opening cutscenes at conveying what's going on, because I feel like there's a bunch of hand-holding and Reload. Yukari's like visually like saying everything, I gotta put this gun to my head and pull the trigger, and that I think the original cutscenes for those did a lot better of creating this atmosphere than Reload did. What do you think about that?
Good point, but I would definitely put the emphasis on the awakening scene for the protagonist. That really stood out to me when I played Reload. I was like, oh shit, it's coming, and oh,
I was kind of like a wet fart in a way.
It was. I was like, it's, you know, it's like this this electronic music beat that goes like boom, 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 and you're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Then it drops and it's like boom, and it's really shitty. That's pretty much it. It was like, it's not bad, but I mean, the build up to it was great, and then it was kind of let me down basically. So I agree on this one.
I even will go so far as to say, some of the cutscenes in like the original Persona 3s were kind of crude looking, but I think it conveyed like the atmosphere and everything a lot better than some of like the cutscenes that they did in the new game. It's especially like the anime cutscenes and everything like that, like that intro movie and everything. That it's going to be hard to beat that intro from the original P3 and FES. I think the movies did a great job of doing that as well. I know you haven't seen the movies, but I think that's just something that the originals did better than Reload to me. Like the intro and the cutscenes themselves and the awakenings. There's something lost there. Let's also go over the elephant in the room here. P3P, you know, as much as I'm not a big fan of it, as much as you're not a big fan of it, it is missing, Reload is missing one big piece of it, and that is the female protagonist. Now, I know it wasn't a deal breaker for us, but what do you think about that? Because there's a lot of people that are very upset about the female protagonist not being in Reload.
I think we have a similar point of view when it comes to that. I mean, I'm not going to argue and I'm not going to go against anyone being mad that FMC is not in Reload, because it's content that is existing from previous Persona 3 versions that is not in Reload, which is the version that most people would consider definitive. That's a problem. I agree. Now, my opinion on it is that is a problem. It's missing content. But I can't say that I care that much for her specifically. I don't really care for the changes that were made to some of the social links. There's even some of them that I don't necessarily want to discuss today, like the Ken stuff and everything. I don't like that, so I'm glad it's not here. And the big thing for me is I wish the music from Portable was in there. That's the big thing, because there's some soul phase and like after school and everything from Portable that is absolutely fantastic. I use those tracks in the back of my videos all the time, and those are gone now. And I love Reload soundtrack. Like you mentioned Color Your Night and everything. I love the soundtrack. It's absolutely amazing. I love it so much. But that is the one thing that I care about more than FMC. But again, I understand why people are sad about the lack of FMC. And in Atlus, at least, you need to give them that. They really did a good job with communication. They said it. They said it's not gonna happen and it's never gonna happen. They were like black on white. Sorry, y'all, it's not happening. So, which is again, I think the reason why they gave us Portable last year, and to get our money as well, of course.
And one more thing that I want to mention before we kind of wrap up everything is that, you know, the answer is included in Persona 3 FES if you just buy it like on disc on the PS2. It's included on the disc. Or if you buy it on your PS3 today, you can still get it on PS3 as a PS2 Classic. As of this recording, it's 2024 right now. The answer is going to be an extra $35. It's not on the disc and everything. It's going to be an extra $35 for everyone that wants that content. Which to me is kind of a misstep if you ask me, because I feel like they knew that they were going to do the answer and they should have just gotten it done before the project ended. That's just to me though. I know this was originally supposed to be a remake of only Persona 3 content, the original game, but there's a lot of FES content, even like the Elizabeth social links, her hangout sessions and everything. There's a lot of content that from that game that made it into here, so I don't know why they waited on the answer. If you want the answer on disc, you're not going to get it from the current pressing of the game. Now, I'm sure they'll release a complete collection, like a complete edition, like when the Switch 2 comes out, and they'll reprint it for PS5 and everything, call it Persona 3 Reload Complete, or something that'll include the answer on the disc. But do you think that's a big misstep for them not to have the answer at release?
It's hard to call it a misstep because it broke records for like fastest Persona game to sell 1 million and everything. So I wouldn't use that word. Is it a bummer? Yes, it is. At the same time, when you read development team interviews, do you believe them? That's a question. That's another question. But I mean, what they're saying is we were not planning on putting the answer in because we were like, hey, it's gonna take too much time and people won't necessarily care for it. And then when the game was revealed, the outcry about the lack of FES content and the answer was very loud, so they looked for a solution. They said they found a miracle solution that allowed them to make it work. So they really started working on the expansion pass and the answer after Reload was announced. So when you take that into consideration, again, that's if you believe what they're saying. These companies are well known for lying all the time. Yes, it's a bummer. Yes, I wish it was there day one, because to be honest, with what's out right now, with everything that I have to play, like, dude, I'm 25 hours into Infinite Wealth. I have at least 80 additional hours to put into that game, 1000%, because you know me, I do everything in Yakuza games, so that's gonna be a thing. I was trying to go for the platinum for Reload. I'm gonna spend over 50 hours in Unicorn Overlord. Freaking SMT5 Vengeance, dude, that's gonna take at least 100 hours for me as well. And then once I'm done with all of that, I'll be playing my game of the year, which is probably gonna be Metaphor ReFantazio. So I honestly don't think I'll have time to play the answer in September when it comes out. I really have a feeling that I won't be playing it when it releases day one. And I'm an Atlas YouTuber, so that's...
Well, I am too, but it took me 2 months to start Reload.
I couldn't wait to start Reload though, but the answer, from what I remember, is not an experience that I enjoyed. So I don't feel the need to go back to it. I want to try it out for sure though, but I think I'll be comfortable waiting until the price cut.
So all in all, with everything that we mentioned, do you feel like Persona 3 Reload is the definitive version of the game?
To me, yeah. 100%. I mean, I don't feel the need to go back to Portable. Certainly not FES either, because the big thing that we quickly went over, because for most people it's not that big of a deal, but for me, direct command and direct control of your party members is a must. So I don't see myself going back to other versions of Persona 3 anytime soon. So regardless of what's missing, to me, as you asked for my opinion is yes, it's the definitive version of Persona 3.
And definitive can mean a lot to different people. Like if you look at it back, it doesn't have, FMC content. It doesn't have some of the stuff that we mentioned, like the Awakenings are lesser so and everything. So it's not quote unquote definitive. Now, if you don't want to play Reload, there's other great options out there. You can get the Persona 3 FES HD mod that they have if you want to go back and play that. You can even patch it so you can do like direct commands of your teammates and everything. You can buy P3P still if you want FMC. Persona 3 Reload is not literally a definitive edition, but to me and you, I feel like if we ever want to play P3 again, we're just going to go back to Reload, especially like when it comes out on the Switch too, more than likely. So definitive can mean a lot of things. To me and you, it means, what's more accessible, what's the best thing to play, what has some more quality of life improvements. It's Reload. But to everyone else, it could be, it's missing FMC, so it's not definitive. And I 1000%.
And that's okay.
And I 1000% get that. I was a little upset too that it didn't. I don't care much about it, but I know a lot of people that do like FMC, including my fiance. She loved the female protagonist. What I'm trying to say here is that just because Persona 3 Reload exists, doesn't make prior entries of the game irrelevant. You can still have your FMC and P3P if you want. You can still experience the game how it was originally meant to be experienced on the PlayStation 2 or through emulation. But just because Persona 3 Reload exists doesn't mean other versions of the game are irrelevant. At the end of the day, it's your choice. Is it definitive? No, this game is not. But to us, we're happy with what we got. But that's all that we wanted to take time to talk about Persona 3 Reload. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. What does P3 through P3P do better than Reload does? What does Reload do better than the other games do? If we missed something, let us know down in the comment section. If you don't agree with us, if you think we're pieces of shit because we say that this is definitive for us, I don't care.
Right.
Unsubscribe to the channel. That's fine. If you're really mad about this, there's other things to be mad about in the world than this. But, hey, David, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on, dude. It was fun, as always.
Of course, subscribe to his channel. Follow him on Twitter, even though he doesn't use it that much, Twitter. But hey, it was good having you on, man. And subscribe to my channel for more Atlus content. We'll see you guys later. King